Hey everybody, my name is Brandon, aka the Brando Critic, and today we are discussing my favorite Harry Potter film. I know this is a lot of people's least favorite in the franchise, but it's my favorite, Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. So when I was showing my cousin these movies for the first time a couple years ago, we watched the first one and he was kind of like, okay, this is kind of cool, the first movie is all about world building. And if you watch my first review, I talk about how I think it's purely magical and they do an amazing job. Now, with the sequel, they finally have time to take the story forward and introduce new characters, introduce new challenges, and I think that this movie does a great job. And J.K. Rowling knew that this movie had to be darker. It couldn't be like the first one, all whimsy, and of course, this movie does have its whimsical moments and its great moments, especially the ending, but I'll talk about that in a second. But this film just has a sense of doom around it. Just a sense of danger just lurking throughout all the scenes. Starting off, we have Dobby in Harry's house talking about Harry must not go back to Hogwarts this year. That's my terrible Dobby impression. I'm sorry, Potter fans. But just the first couple events in the movie, you start to think something's a little off here. This seems quite a bit darker than the first movie. Harry Potter ending up in Knockturn Alley, meeting Lucius Malfoy, who is super sinister, and Jason Isaacs does a great performance. Missing the train, the Whomping Willow, the Rogue Bludger, and the scene where Professor McGonagall explains to the students about the Chamber of Secrets, I think is one of my favorite scenes in the entire Harry Potter franchise. Just her performance, the John Williams score, and talking about this chamber, and of course I talked about it in my first review, the mythos of it. You know, the four wizards, Godric Gryffindor, Salazar Slytherin, all those people, and how they wanted different kind of wizards to attend the school. It's legend. This world has its own legends, and it feels more vibrant. The world feels more vibrant that way. And as a kid, just hearing her talk about the Chamber of Secrets was just... It scared me. This movie was actually pretty scary to me as a kid, and even watching it now, I find it so fascinating how just little tweaks in the first movie. So, you know, he goes to Hogwarts, oh, Hogwarts is this great magical place, but in this movie it's just tweaked a little bit. He misses the train, the car lands in the Whomping Willow and he almost dies and like almost gets expelled the first night, you know, just little things like that. Something's gonna be different about this year, and that's why I love this movie so much. Also, when you look at the plot, this film is really, really dark when you think about it for a children's film. The first movie was about, you know, the big bad guy trying to come back to life to get our hero, and yeah, that's a bit simplistic, but this movie has the same idea, but it's the byproduct of the actual plot about the Chamber of Secrets and the Basilisk. And when you really think about it, this movie is basically about ethnic cleansing at Hogwarts. Nazi comparisons, anyone? Having someone write messages on the wall in blood and having certain people petrified and almost killed, and about this monster that we don't know anything about, but if you look at it in the eye, you die, kind of like Medusa. Like, that's pretty scary for a kid's movie. And then the spiders and the polyjuice potion, you know, going into the Gryffindor common room and hearing Malfoy speak about wanting a certain mudblood to die, like, it's just... I love the direction that this film went in. So you add in a bit of a darker story with probably the best trio of heroes in film history, next to Han, Luke, and Leia, of course, and you give us an ending that... I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I've seen this movie, I can't even keep count, I'm gonna say over 15 times. The ending of this movie makes me cry every single time. I'm not ashamed to admit it. Even when I watched it a couple days ago before filming this review, and spoiler alert for people who haven't seen it, but, you know, everyone starts clapping for Hagrid, and then just the music and just everything's just so magical, and I break down every single time. So when people ask me, like, oh, what's the movie that you cry every time to? A lot of guys I know will, like, just make up an answer, say, oh, Saving Private Ryan, and that movie is pretty heartfelt, but for me, it's the ending of Chamber of Secrets. So with that, the awesome world building, just the same as the first one, the awesome trio, and the much darker story. Again, this film is a 5 out of 5, and personal preference, it is my favorite Harry Potter movie. So like my review of the first movie, what is your guys' favorite Harry Potter movie? And I also want to ask you, what house would you be in? Would you be in Gryffindor, Hufflepuff, Ravenclaw, or Slytherin? I did a quiz a couple years ago, and I got Gryffindor. With Slytherin, just... pretty close to number 2. Anyways guys, thank you so much for watching, and don't worry, I will be doing Prisoner of Azkaban, Goblet of Fire, Order of Phoenix, all of them, and Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, and the sequel to Fantastic Beasts. I don't know how to feel about that yet, but we'll see how it is. Anyways guys, thank you so much for watching. Take care.